Sports.
Yo, that was sloppy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired of bigging up the team every time we do it. That one was the worst one we've done in a couple weeks. But this is Stuff About Sports, presented by the Give Us a Shot Network. I'm Germ. Today we got Corey, we got Ty, and we got Bert. Gentlemen, good evening.
What's up?
Listen, man, we have a lot to talk about, okay? We are going to talk about Mike Gundy's faux pas. Does he deserve to be fired? We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Kyrie Irving trying to nuke the NBA season. I mean, before it even starts. I thought everything was clear sailing, but Kyrie Irving is starting a coalition, a mutiny among players, and who knows what's going to happen. We'll talk about that. And MLB or not to MLB. Who's to blame for baseball? Seemingly yesterday, everything was all good. And then today I wake up and Rob Manfred, I like to call him Rob Fraudfred, doesn't know if we're going to have baseball. But first, the warm-up. Gentlemen, our beloved and most hated and most polarizing leader of this country says, "Oh, if the NFL players kneel, I'm going to boycott. Oh, if the soccer players kneel, I'm not going to watch soccer." I'll start with Corey. How much on a scale of 1 to 10 do you not care?
Oh, dude, I'm in the negatives. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares. People want sports. Nobody cares. When Pence went to a game, what was it, last year or 2 years ago, and he left because I think a combination of people booed him and he saw players take a knee. So nobody stopped watching. Nobody gives a shit. Like, take your tampon out. Who cares? Oh, who cares? Where's that button?
Yeah, no, Mike's not here. I wanted him to hit the who cares button. Ty.
Man, yeah, I think we're all in agreement. You should know where I stand when it comes to this stuff. I don't want to go too deep into it.
But go deeper. Go deeper. Just kill him. Just kill him right now.
You're talking about in terms of the president talking about the anthem, being mad at the anthem, right? Like people disobeying the anthem. Like, man, listen, we have different histories. Like, I don't want to go too off the topic, but let's just be about it. People have this thing that they can't really fathom. America means something different to us. Somehow people don't understand that. Like when we look at the flag, when we look at the history, I know other people might look at it like, oh, all these great things happen. But for us, it's like literally the exact opposite. So I don't know how people are so appalled by us having a different mindset when it comes to the flag. It hasn't really done the same thing for us as it's done for you, man. So I don't understand how people have this mindset still.
In short, he's saying fuck Donald Trump. Bert.
Yeah, no, I could care less. And I don't understand anybody who follows his opinion about sports. He's here to supposedly lead a country. Who cares if he's not watching a football game? If he still can't get it through his head that it literally is just a song and there is a stand for a greater movement for, certain people in our country, then why not? It's not like they're out there burning the flag on the field, which is what he's trying to make everybody think. It is what it is. He just needs to honestly shut the fuck up and let the sports be sports.
100%. What I find most interesting about his comments was they came after Drew Brees apologized about his message about the flag, saying that he misunderstood what it said. And Trump said, you don't have to apologize. And Drew Brees said, no, yes, I do. And it's like he's doing it on purpose, clearly, right? Like somebody straight up responded to you directly and said, no, this is not what that means. And he still went out of his way to do it. It's just like stoking the fire, man. It's unreal that he gets away with it. Lamar Jackson. I don't know if you guys saw this a couple days. He's taking this quarantine very seriously, playing catch on the beach, getting tackled into jet skis. He's now also the Madden 21 cover athlete. Should the Ravens force him to be in quarantine because he's going to kill himself? Corey?
No. I mean, I think at this point, if you're with people and you want to have a good time, you live your life. Okay, no one's going to stop you from that. We're out of season. You're not reporting to camp yet, and I'll say yet. But as soon as it's time to put the business attire on, then that's when he needs to be quarantined and to be careful. But until that happens, he needs to live a little bit, just like all of us. He's been in his mansion for the last 3 months. So actually, he's still in a rookie contract, so it's probably not that big of a house yet. So I think he's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No,
is the man curse going to get him though?
No. First of all, Mahomes was on the Madden cover last year and won the goddamn Super Bowl. So if that's a Madden curse, then I hope he. Well, actually, I don't hope he gets it, but he hopes he gets it, right? Like Mahomes won the Super Bowl on the cover last year. The curse is just, obviously, that's silly, man. Like not every single player gets hurt, but it's a good percentage. It was, for a while.
Hey. Listen, I'm not a believer in making rules out of outliers. Okay, we already know Patrick. I like to call him Magic Mahomes. Is special. So listen, I don't think he's.
But he did get. He got hurt too, though. He did get. Remember, he got hurt. He did get hurt in the season. Oh yeah, he got hurt and missed. He missed at least one game. But he missed
a couple. He missed like 3.
But I remember he was in pretty bad shape for him to come back and like win the Super Bowl. Man, like that really speaks to his toughness. But I'm not worried about Lamar. I mean, you should be worried about him on the field. If anything, like this guy runs around with reckless abandon. So that's what you should worry about. But you gotta let him do his thing. I mean, I didn't see the video. I heard about it. Like he ran into a
somebody tackled him. Like it was like they were.
But he was practicing though. Like wasn't he like practicing though?
No, I think they were just playing on the beach.
Playing around. Oh, okay. Well, that happens, right? I mean, you can't quarantine people and keep them locked up. They gotta live your life, man. Like, but you should be smart. And I think that was obviously a freak accident. So nobody should worry about it.
Bert.
Yeah, no, I'm half in the let him be young and have fun camp, but what Ty just said really hit home. Dude, you got to be smart. You're a professional athlete now. It's one thing to joke around and you're cooped up in your house and you want to get out. It's another thing that you want to make sure that your vehicle, your instrument, your body, your arm, you don't get banged up before the season, and it would just be destiny if Madden hurt him. I know we've had some luck in the past between like Mahomes and Brady, but being on the cover. But I mean, I don't know if you're doing shit like this and you just got the cover of Madden, I'd be in bubble wrap until the season starts.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm sorry to interrupt, Jerm, but the dude plays professional football. He got tackled in the sand. Like, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a lineman coming down on him.
He's on the cover of Madden, bro. I mean, it's like Final Destination, bro.
The Grim Reaper is following him now. He's just following him around, like
bro. Like you ever see the movie Ghost? And the little ghost things are like down the streets. They're right behind Lamar Jackson, and it's never too early. He's had one flash in the pan year, and he could be a bum next year. That's why you shouldn't be crowning these guys a little too early. So next. How uncomfortable are you guys? I don't know if you've seen this. How uncomfortable are you with Ohio State football making its football players sign a coronavirus, waiver, saying that they're not responsible if you get COVID-19 while you return if you want to play football? Go ahead, Corey. You start.
It's not going to be an uncommon thing, to be honest with you. It's starting up around here for rec leagues, all the youth sports that's starting. You have to, just like any other waiver, it's like we're not responsible if you get a concussion. We're not responsible for this. So if you get coronavirus, we're also not responsible. So it's a legality. I think it's going to be a part of the new normal.
Yeah.
Ty?
No, exactly. I'm going to harp on that and also extend that. Like, they've already canceled in-person classes for a lot of colleges. Like for the most part, it's going to be virtual, probably around the whole entire country in the fall. They've already called that. So if you're going to have sports, this is the only way you're going to have it. So there's really no way around it. Like just sign the waiver. Just, I think you have to sign the waiver, right? Like there's no vaccine. And right now until there's a vaccine, obviously the world is a different place. It's weird. It's unprecedented territory, but it is what it is right now.
Bert.
So if someone that doesn't sign that waiver, are they like on a scholarship? Do they still get the money and sit out, or are they paying now? That's what I want to know.
It's interesting. So that would probably be different for each school, but I think that would bring up like legal things that I think are unprecedented. Like I think we're talking about uncharted territory. I don't know if they have it planned. Do you know, Jamal?
I did not. I didn't get enough time to research that. It was in my notes, and I just completely forgot because I was doing a lot of the pro stuff. But I know in baseball, or not baseball, in basketball, Joel Embiid's contract is guaranteed if they play or not. And I know contracts are different than scholarships. I would imagine you're getting a scholarship to play a sport. So if you're not playing that sport and that sport is going on, then I would assume you would lose your scholarship.
Right.
The issue,
Which is that should bring up a legal cause though. Like that shouldn't be allowed. Like if I choose not to for this reason, just let you should still honor my scholarship. I would think.
No, because they brought you there. They brought you there for that specific reason. So, like, if you were on an academic scholarship and then you just decided to stop going to class, they're going to pull that scholarship, your academic scholarship. So it would work the same in sports. The thing for me is, it's funny that it's even getting this far because we've already seen that colleges. How are colleges going to have sports if they're already not having kids on campus in school? You're forcing these kids to sign waivers and make billions of dollars, and the student athletes are not being students. It's like free slave labor, to be honest. They didn't even talk about returning to class, and you're making them sign waivers to play football.
Well, so this is great. So what's going to you're seeing this happen in tandem. They're going to start paying the players too, though. Right? Like, what if they start paying the players too?
Certain states, there are certain colleges that have signed that they are going to start to give their players some money depending on how much the program
so
makes.
Both these things happen at the same time. Now we're talking. Like, I'll sign my waiver. You're going to start paying me. Like, maybe that will incentivize people, and it probably won't be every school. We're not going to have the same 400 team league anymore. It's just going to be like, only teams we freaking care about. The 30 or 40 or 60 teams that actually give a fuck. So that actually matter. So that's what we're gonna get to, and that's cool, man. That's all we really care about in terms of college sports. Yeah. And as a fan, like these big, certain colleges, you like to see them play. It's just like watching NFL or watching guys getting ready for the NFL.
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to it, it's all about accountability, especially with this virus. So I kind of like the fact that even though you have to sign a waiver, you don't have to worry about a random economics class, giving you the coronavirus. Somebody in there. It's either somebody from the football team or another sports program or someone from the other team that you just played. So it gives all these teams a way to kind of narrow down and to track where the virus was and is headed. So I think there's a little more control in that environment.
Yeah, it's good. It'll be interesting. I just thought, that was the first thing that came through my mind. Like, damn, like they really don't give a fuck about these students. You know what I mean? Like it's, aside from signing a waiver, it's like they're there to be in school, and they don't care about the school aspect at all. That's why the college system is so fraudulent. The Pro Bowl is for next year. Hopefully, will be in Las Vegas in that sexy ass stadium they got, the Black Hole over there in Vegas. It's awesome. I think we all should go. It is in Vegas. We all know what Vegas is about. Everybody knows what Vegas is about. And now you're going to send a bunch of millionaires over there to fool around. Over under 3 arrests Pro Bowl weekend of NFL players during the Pro Bowl in Vegas. Go ahead, Corey. You start it.
I'm going to say under. I have to say under. You have like typically the players that are chosen for the Pro Bowl, not only do they put up stats, but they usually do some sort of philanthropy and they give back and all that. So I think those guys will stay out of trouble, at least while they're out there in Vegas.
I'm doubling down on the under by far because I plan on the police being defunded by then. So there won't be any police officers anyway. So there'll be any arrests.
I'm under on this one too. Usually the guys that are there, like Corey said, they're high skilled, but they're also involved in other things too. They're essentially role model citizens of the NFL. So I'm going to go with everybody's going to behave themselves. I will say this. I can't remember the last time I sat down and actually watched a Pro Bowl. And it's probably because I just don't care to see like the soft hitting, playful type football in between, Super Bowl week and what the playoffs had just ended. So I think they should move it past the Super Bowl, get that extra week of football out of it. And then those that competed in the Super Bowl and were voted can play too, instead of those that were avoiding it. But that's just me.
Nah, they'll never do that.
Yeah. I wish they would make it in a way. They need to make the Pro Bowl. We can do another show about that, but like our Pro Bowl ideas to rejuvenate it, because it's a wasted thing. They need to either do away with the game and just do all skills, or they need to make the Pro Bowl worth something more. I think maybe with this extended schedule where 17 games is obviously an odd number, so somebody's playing more home games. So maybe the winner of the Pro Bowl, that conference gets the extra home game or whatever. I don't know.
I've never watched the Pro Bowl, like NFL.
I watch it every year.
Wow.
It every year. I'm a sucker. I love All-Star games. I'm a sucker for All-Star games.
I like NBA All-Star game, but yeah.
I just wish it was better. And I think maybe, maybe with this extra game, maybe they can figure it out. Will any title this year in any sport have a huge asterisk on it? Like, will that champion be respected?
I won't say in any sport, like if football is slated to start on time, then I don't think there's any asterisk there. But when it comes to baseball, hockey, and basketball, absolutely, 100%. I think that it just leaves too big room for these arguments, of what ifs. What would have happened if the season played on like normal? If we didn't have the expanded playoff? If we played more than 50 some odd games? Hopefully for baseball. So I think there's a huge asterisk with all of them.
Yeah, I would. I mean, there's obviously different, right? But I want to use asterisk because everybody's going through it, right? Is the season is definitely different for every sport, probably outside of football. As long as they start on time. But in terms of basketball and hockey and baseball, even might not even have a season if they have like a real shortened season. Yeah, I can see an asterisk there, but basketball and hockey, they played most of their season. Like, it's playoff time now. Like, now it's time for the guys that did well all season to show up on the playoffs. You had a long-ass break is really what you got, right? So everybody had the same break, and the best team should still win. I mean, because we're still talking about series. It's not a one and done tournament. All these sports are still series, so the best team should still win. I don't want to think about it as an asterisk. I think the best team should still win.
I think NBA and NHL will have the asterisks and the arguments of, well, if they played the full season, the seeding may have been different, and you had teams on the outskirts playing in the play-in rounds to make it there, so it's anybody's game. If it was normal, they wouldn't have happened. You'll always have those arguments. If the NFL goes off as it should, there'll be no problem whatsoever. And I don't think that you'll get too many arguments for Major League Baseball because everybody's in the same boat. You all have the same amount of games. You're all starting at the same time. You're all competing for the same thing. So granted, it may be a shortened season, but you got to remember, a lot of these guys had just started spring training. Some were getting injured, and now they've had all this time to rest their players, get the injury, get rid of the injuries and come back to it and start fresh. So is it a shortened season? And when you get the argument of, well, I doubt they'd last 180 something games, maybe, but you got to remember everybody's in the same boat. So whether you play 50 games or whether you play 100 and something games, you have to play those games and you have to play them to the fullest. So I don't think there'll be an asterisk, so to speak. People just may say like, oh, well, they never would have lasted the full season. So
not only will it have a huge asterisk, but the asterisk will showcase their greatness. It'll not only elevate, their title will mean more if they win. Any team in the NBA, NHL, MLB. And no training camps, the huge layoffs, coming in cold. These teams have to deal with more. Like, I get the argument of like the seeding that Bert was making, but no other year in sports has been like this, right? So with all of the obstacles and the COVID and not having to practice, you can't be in the same facility with your teammates. You will see the teams rise to the top based on natural ability, which is what we want to see, the best of the best. We will truly have a measure of who's truly the best coming in virtually off the street, especially in the NBA. So I not only will I not, I mean, the asterisk for me is a positive, not a plus. I would highlight and praise these teams even more. Dare I say, give them a half a championship if they win on top. So like the 1.5 championships for the Philadelphia 76ers for winning the title this year. So the Roger Goodell Redemption Tour is going full steam ahead. This guy is pro player all the way. He's urging teams to sign Kaepernick. He's doing everything. He's saying all the right things. This guy is drinking the Kool-Aid. Not to be funny, not to be funny. Even though he's definitely drinking red Kool-Aid. So he urges teams to sign Kaepernick this season. This is a two-part warm-up. This is the last question of the warm-up. Then it's a two-parter. Will Colin Kaepernick get signed to a team to play this season? And who gets signed first, Colin Kaepernick or Cam Newton?
Here's my holdup. I want Kaepernick signed. I've wanted him signed the last 2 years. We have heard nothing from the Kaepernick camp about anything. We just know that Goodell is trying to push to get him signed, have teams look at him. I know Pete Carroll had said last week that that he talked to Kaepernick's camp and possibly sending teams his way. But there's been no public statement from his camp on whether he wants to play. You know, I know he had the workout last year, but he might just turn around and give the old Italian salute and say, forget it. Now I don't want to play for you. I'm glad you're changing your stance, but I really don't want to give you any talents. I don't want to give you my time. I don't want to give you my skills. So I will say that Cam gets signed first, but if Kaepernick does want to return to the league, it's not going to be far behind. It'll either be in the middle of this season or definitely for next season.
What's the official last word on that? I could have swore that Kaepernick has been saying he wants to play like to this minute in time. Like, is that not what he's been saying?
So for Kaepernick does want to play, and I don't. To Corey's point, I don't think I remember seeing anything. I think honestly, the feeling has been he's always been ready to play, so there was nothing to put out. As far as I know, he still works out every day.
Because the last thing they had in Atlanta, I believe, wasn't that long ago, right? A couple months ago, and they had the workout, and I guess it never happened the way it was supposed to happen, and because they had these weird documents on it,
they wanted him to sign these made up waivers. There was basically the two sides don't trust each other.
That was silly.
The two sides they don't trust each other. So Kaepernick didn't trust what was happening. His main point was NFL wasn't going to allow him to bring his own cameras, so he didn't think that they would showcase him in the best light. So he dipped off. But as far as I know, I heard this a couple days ago. He still works out. Like ever since the NFL video went out and the Goodell apology and the NFL statement, somebody and matter of fact, I think his girlfriend Nessa says he works out like he's training for a job, and he's never stopped. He does it every day and has done it every day since he's been blackballed.
I think. I was gonna say, do we need a public statement from Kaepernick? Are we looking for one here, or are we just assuming that he's gonna jump in and go to
what people want to know?
No reason.
What people want to see is a team show legit interest. Like that's what people want to see, and they have yet to see that. Like an actual real team. Like we're really thinking about signing Kaepernick or even trying him out. That's not happened. All we had was the closest thing was Pete Carroll talking about it, but like I think it never happened. So that's what we want. We want to hear actual. And Goodell is trying to say it now, but it's like, yo, you're 2 years late, right? Like there should have been teams, trying to contact him, and they weren't for a very long time. So at this point, it's just I don't think Cam. To answer the original question, Cam will definitely, in my opinion, be signed before Cap, and I don't think Cap will never be signed in the NFL. And not because of any other reason besides it's been a long time, and like his boat passed. Like his ship sailed 2 years ago. They missed that opportunity, and we should use that talking point to make some real change though, because he should have been signed, and it's a shame. But Cam is younger, and if we have there's other quarterbacks out here that should get shots, I believe, and that's just my opinion.
I'll not to keep jumping in. I'll go out on a limb. I will say something so radical. I bet you Cam gets signed before Dak Prescott. I bet you Cam gets a contract before Dak.
Good, Bert.
I do think Cam will get signed before Kaepernick. I want to see Kaepernick get signed too. There's no reason. There are plenty of teams that needs a quarterback like Cap, and I'm looking at Chicago, to be quite honest with you. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Brees, on his apology tour that he's going on right now, isn't trying to convince the Saints to sign Kaepernick too. But yeah, look, I think Cap is going to have a job, and I honestly think it'll happen before September. I think teams are going to look and realize, A, that there's a value that he is a player too. But now that the entire league has changed their song and dance and their stance to this, there is no harm in signing this guy anymore. Before, he was looked at like a poison because he was disrupting everything and getting his message out. But now everything's changed. So if I'm a team in the NFL and I know I need a quarterback, there's no reason why you shouldn't be having discussions with Kaepernick.
Brandon DeWitt on Facebook says Cap to the Steelers, just saying. But that's something that you can see just because of obviously the coach and the who the Steelers are. I think there was a rumor before just because of who the Steelers are. Like they should look at Cap, because of the black coach. But we shall see.
It's funny. Brandon. It's funny. Brandon said that. Shout out to Brandon DeWitt. I actually made a list for this question because not only do I think Kaepernick will get signed first, and the real reason why Kaepernick. It's not really about. I get that he hasn't been away from the game. Cam is only 1 year younger than Cap is. Cam has 4 years of damage and an unknown injury that nobody has no idea how healthy he truly is. Hasn't been able to stay healthy. Cap has not taken hits to the body, and yes, he hasn't had any real football time. It's not like he's out of shape. So, and nobody's asking him to come in and be a starter, like Bert was saying. He probably could in Chicago. I mean, if you're giving me Trubisky, based on what we've seen the last couple of years. Nick Foles,
they got
was
Foles
lightning
now.
in a bottle.
They got DD.
I mean, okay, so enough. Okay.
Oh, he took off his hat.
Shout out to the Eagles fans out there. I'm so happy you won your Super Bowl. But enough with this Nick Foles thing, okay? He won one Super Bowl that he didn't even play the full season. He came in, rode the wave. We have so much fans need to knock it off with this. Well, he did good this one time. This is my Cam Newton argument. He had one spectacular season, but he's also had 9 awful seasons. He's not a good quarterback. Cam Newton is not. I am saying this. This is okay. This is not a direct representation of the Give Us a Shot Network or stuff about sports. I'm not speaking for Corey, Ty, or Bert. I'm speaking for me. Cam Newton is not a good quarterback. Just because he has won one MVP, anybody can win one MVP once. Dirk Nowitzki played basketball.
You make it sound so easy like that. You make it sound so easy.
But okay, if you win a title, right? Trent Dilfer's not a good quarterback. He's won a Super Bowl, right? These guys, Rex Grossman, I understand that, but these awards that you're getting once because you have momentum, especially in a team sport when you're not the sole reason. Nick Foles wasn't the sole reason the Eagles won that championship. So stop making so you're just going to forget all these years of Nick Foles that we've seen privy when he's been on 5 different teams. And all of a sudden you're trying to tell me he's going to come into Chicago and lead them to a Super Bowl because he did it for half the season in Philly. Knock it off. All right. Back to Kaepernick. He will get signed first, mostly not for football reasons, but mainly for political reasons. A team will, like the Steelers, is an excellent choice. I actually have the Steelers. I do have the Bears because I think that's his most realistic chance to play. I have the Chargers on that list. I have the Saints on that list for what Bert said, and I have the Chiefs on that list because of Andy Reid. Andy Reid's always been a Colin Kaepernick guy. A lot of this. The Chiefs would make more sense for Andy Reid to help Kaepernick work on his QB skills and give him some rub. That way he can find his way to another team. He doesn't have any pressure to play because he's not going to beat Patrick Mahomes. He could just sit there and learn, and he actually fits the system, so it does help the Chiefs in terms of an insurance policy. Cam Newton, it's just his injury. That's why he's not signed yet. See how many quarterbacks, the Chargers rather have taken Justin Herbert instead of taking a shot on Cam Newton. And they wasted a top 10 draft pick or whatever they had in Justin Herbert from Oregon. Where did he play at? Oregon? Has there ever been a good Oregon quarterback?
Doesn't matter. Okay, I would have taken Justin Herbert over Tua in a heartbeat. Just saying.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
But I'll also take
the Dolphins. Hey, the Dolphins. Hey,
That's what I was just thinking about. I'm
got,
like, yo, what if Tua, fuck around and do what he's been doing?
There was rumors years, probably I think last year or 2 years ago, there was some stirs that Kaepernick could possibly float to the Dolphins. Jeff Ross won't go for that. The ownership will not.
He's super Trump guy, right? He's like super Trump guy, right? Is that
I
why? Because I
don't know if he's super Trump, but at the time he didn't want the press. He didn't good press or bad press. He just didn't want the attention around the club. So that's
clearly they don't want press there. They don't want good press out there, man.
I mean, what kind of press do you want? You're not a good team, so you don't want good. You're not going to get good press anyway. So. It's funny because, and that's the interesting part about this conversation. And I know it's a warm-up question. We're spending a lot of time on it, but that bad press was due to the climate in 2016. That is different now. That is different today.
Right.
That coward Steve Biscotti, and I laugh because isn't the biscotti like the little nasty ass stick that you dip in the coffee? Yeah. That perfectly describes who the owner of the Baltimore Ravens is. A fucking crusty coffee stick, nasty coffee stick, idiot. Had the nerve. Do you guys remember when he said, pray for us, sent a memo to all of his season ticket holders and all the fans and said, pray for us. We're thinking of signing Kaepernick. You are a coward, bro. You are a straight up coward. It's and then I heard rumblings that the Ravens might be interested now in Colin Kaepernick. Again, mostly because of their quarterback depth. And Kaepernick just can fit that system because similar to Lamar Jackson, mobile guy with a big arm, whatever. But when I heard that, I laughed because all I thought of was crusty coffee stick ass Steve Biscotti. And you know what? I hope the man curse Israel, and I hope Lamar Jackson tears both his ACLs, so you get nothing, stop. Steve Biscotti.
Stop.
Get out of here.
Poor kid. Don't sacrifice that poor young kid just because the owner's an idiot.
Nah, shout out to Lamar Jackson. Don't tear your ACL. Stop getting tackled in front of jet skis. All right, so that was the warm up. Good. I'm warmed up. I'm fired up. That Nick Foles, man, I'm sick of that. I'm sick of hearing his name, bro. Like, it's bad enough. It's bad enough that Nick Foles is going to get enshrined in Canton for that magical season he had, where he tied Peyton Manning for touchdowns. And you guys remember that his first turn in Philly? Didn't he have like a wild game, like a historic game that he tied Peyton Manning in? That was Nick Foles, right? All right.
I'll tell you what, though, I think I'm such an Eagles hater that I love Foles just because like the only Super Bowl they got was from him, and then he left. And it was just like, you guys, the only good quarterback you had is gone, and you guys made a horrible decision. So now I just love to big up Nick Foles. I'm not even joking.
They couldn't keep him though. They couldn't afford it. Like they
did. They could have got rid of Wentz, and they could have kept Foles. They could have 100%.
Never done that.
I know. I'm just saying.
They could, but yeah, they would have never done
that. I love that happened. I love that he won a Super Bowl and then he left, and it's like, you guys don't even have a Super Bowl winning quarterback anmeanymore. Like I love rubbing it in their faces. I'm sorry, I love it. So BDN forever.
Nick Foles had the 7 touchdown game where he was like 84% accurate, and him and Peyton both had a 7 touchdown game. So that's like enshrined.
Foles is always going to haunt them because they should have kept him.
Oh yeah. Carson Wentz has this year, and Carson Wentz has this year and this year alone, or else they should just draft a new quarterback. I'm dead serious.
Hurts. They like Jalen Hurts, man. I don't think that was. I think now that I think about it, I don't think it was just some awkward, weird pick. I think that was intentional. I think they like Jalen Hurts.
Well, that's why the Eagles will never win a Super Bowl ever again if they're making picks like Jalen Hurts in the NFL draft. So now we will shift our gears. We'll get back to football. We are going to start with baseball. And MLB or ML not to be is what I should have said in the open of the show. Baseball every week it's something. It's like almost every day almost. There's always something going on with Major League Baseball. The owners and the players are making their commissioner look like an even bigger doof than he already is. Rob Manfred, he looks like the guy that like tells the cop that his taxes pay his salary when he gets a speeding ticket, when he gets pulled over. That's what he looks like. It's like he's just one of those guys. So what are your thoughts on baseball? The players are basically saying, tell us how many games we're playing, because enough is enough. We're going to get paid our 100%. You tell us how many games you want to play. It's now to a point for me where I think baseball should just not have a season. That's where I think it's headed. The 50 games I was looking at a lot of the numbers. It's going to cost the owners money to have a season. No doubt about it. 50 games is not enough. And so how optimistic are you that we will have a baseball season? And what are your thoughts about this? Yesterday baseball was happening, and now today it seems like it's not. So Corey, you were first. Go ahead.
I don't think it can get more fair than the players saying, tell us how many games and prorate our salary. That's, they're basically asking for just a breakdown. We want our breakdown of our contracts for a certain number of games, which is how they get paid anyway. That's literally the most fair. That's how every average working person does it. I go into work on X, Y, and Z. I get paid for X, Y, and Z. So it absolutely shocks me that now they're saying there's really no discussion between Players Association and owners, that it's just, how is this all of a sudden, like you said, there was a minimum that they had to abide by. And now they basically said, okay, we're getting, this is what we want. And then the discussion drops completely. So I guess I'm missing something here, because I'm just as confused as everybody else to how, why is this all of a sudden a no-go to the point where Manfred is just like, yeah, I don't see a 2020 season happening.
Yeah, I heard, I think I said it. I thought I was one of the first ones to say it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there was no season, just because. And I challenge what Jamal said about the players, or not really challenging what you're saying, but piggybacking off of that, you're talking about the owners are going to lose money if they play, right? How much money have they made the past so many years?
Exactly.
You've made so much goddamn money. Not even is that I look at when you start looking at money, because there's a certain kind of way. You know how much money this damn country is in debt? You look at Trump. Trump's a damn president, right? You know how many times he's been bankrupt, right? You know how many times he's failed at business, but yet continues to just continue to go. And it's just who cares? Just ignore what happened. Just keep going. These owners are going to be fine. The fact that they're trying to negotiate at all, it just bothers me. You guys have so much money and so much power. Just shut the hell up. If you do lose some money, so what? You're not your lifestyle will not change in the slightest, and you will just figure it out. It will just be a red month for you. It'll just be some red numbers on your screen for that year, and then next year you continue on, but your life will not change at all. At all. These owners have so much money. It's ridiculous. And all I do is just keep printing more of it and adding more digits onto the screen, and they just keep moving. It's all bullshit, man, at the end of the day. And I think the players deserve more.
Yeah, when I first heard the news that there was still this friction, are we going to play, are we not going to play? And the players are just tell us how many games. My first thought is Manfred's not getting this shit done, and he's going to kill the sport. Because when fans look back and they see that they don't have a season, they're not going to be pissed at the players. They're not going to be pissed at the owners. They're going to be pissed at the commissioner for letting this happen. And all you're doing is driving away fans. Look, I love baseball, but let's be honest. It's a slow sport. And the fandom was dying off to begin with. So, and I understand the owners may lose money if they have a season, but guess what? If you don't have a season, you're not making any money. So just take the loss and hope that you still retain the fans and the sport is safe so it comes back better next year. Just get it done. Because all of us are tired of hearing about billionaires and millionaires arguing over what we consider luxury salaries. Just get it done so we can have something. That's all we want.
That's the smartest thing. They should, the owners, even if they are losing, just have a season, because it's better for the brand to play and figure it out later. Because that little bit of money you'll lose is nothing. You don't even care. You're just trying to own up. You're trying to honor, have a little bit of honor, and oh man, I don't want to have a losing season. We're in the red and the negative. So the fuck what? File bankruptcy and figure it out later. You'll be fine. You still can have your yacht. You can still have your helicopter. You'll be fucking fine.
What's crazy though is I'm sorry, Jerm, but you said that Manfred needs to get it done. His job is to facilitate a conversation, and if the owners and the players are going to go back and forth, it might be on him to not really take like, that daddy role, that strong stance and be like, look, you guys need to figure this the fuck out and you need to figure it out now. But I can't see putting all the blame on Manfred right now. Sorry, Jerm.
It should be 100. No, it should be 100% on him, though. That's his role as the commissioner, is to commission the league. You have to play a role where you're arguing the best interests of both sides, plain and simple. His job should be virtually on the line for this. He should be responsible for getting this sport together and on, plain and simple.
I agree. He needs to facilitate the conversation, but if both parties aren't going to come to an agreement, then what is he to do?
Work harder.
But that's what the stalemate is.
So the bottom row here, I don't know if your screens are the same as mine. I'm on the bottom row with Bert, and the bottom row is bringing it today. Let me tell you something. Bert is right. Rob Manfred is not good at his job, and he wasn't good at his job the day he got the job. Bud Selig would never allow this to happen, because what's happening is there's two things that are clearly happening. The players and the owners are not agreeing on anything, but the one thing they do agree on is they don't respect Rob Manfred to get this done. They're saying things without him. They're not letting him do his job because, quite frankly, he clearly just can't do his job. And the arrogance of the owners is what's the second thing that's really clear here. People seem to forget next year is a CBA, a collective bargaining year. They are trying to win this battle, and they don't care how narrow that margin of victory is, right? They don't want the players getting any leg up, because then in their minds that hurts their negotiations for next year, and that's extremely petty. It's extremely petty. And like Ty was saying, obviously it's easy for us to say, guys who don't make any money compared to them, just lose a couple $1 million. It's fine. That's I understand that line of thinking, but it's not really about losing money for you guys. Clearly, it's about you simply not wanting to bend a knee to the players. And what you're hurting is the fans. Bert said it. The game is already slow. The game is already behind in terms of demographic. The average age of a baseball viewer is 52 years old, by far the oldest. Between the demographics of people who watch the games and the age of the ticket buyers and the season ticket holders, the average age is 52. That's the oldest by a lot in terms of the four major sports.
So that means in 20 years there'll be no fans left. In 30 years there'll be nobody left.
And it's and also like you were saying, Ty, everybody's feeling it. And so to me, it's not about money. It really isn't. It's about the owners just simply not wanting to concede to the players. And I think baseball, if they let this season go by and not play it, it's going to kill it. It's going to kill baseball. Horrible. Baseball was already, it would be horrible. And they need to figure it out. Rob Manfred should lose his job over this. If they don't have a season, I'm with Bert. Rob Manfred should lose his job, because baseball should have been played in March? That's when the season usually starts. And we're about to hit July. Yeah. So, that's insane. That's insane to me. Anybody have anything else for baseball?
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad because it's once again, we're in a situation that is unprecedented. So I just try to not jump on people for these kind of things. And the owners really are the ones with the power. My man does not have the power. He just is a facilitator. The power is the owners. That is all the power. So that is who I look at if I'm pointing a finger at anybody. It's the owners. With the protests, with everything happening now, it's like a perfect storm of everybody feeling marginalized. It's not just black people. It's gay people. It's everybody. Like, God damn it, man. Like, even players, even though they're millionaires to us, they're even looking at the owners like, man, God damn it. Like, you guys are worried, but you guys are trillionaires and you're worried about a little bit of money. Like, even the players are the smaller guys on a totem pole in terms of the league. So I think it's just a perfect storm of everything happening right now. The little guys are like tired of it, like everybody from all across the spectrum. So it's tough. It's a very tough job. So I don't want to get so wrapped up in like harping on. I mean, what is it? It's not Selig. Who's the commissioner?
Rob Manfred.
Manfred. I don't want to get so harping on him.
Rob. I'm sorry. Rob Manfred is his name.
Ron woman Fred. Yeah, I mean,
Woman Fred.
Yeah, I don't want to harp. I don't want to harp on her,
up,
man.
Rob.
I want to harp on her.
Get your balls up, Rob. Enough of this shit. All right, this is a nuts. All right, go in there. This would Roger. I'm sorry, Godger Goodell would never allow this to happen. Big Dick Adam Silver would never allow this to happen. Adam Silver looks like a white Tony Dungy, no?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I never thought of it.
Yeah, he does. All right,
Yeah.
He looks. He also looks like the. He also looks like the guy who does the sign language for like the governor or the president whenever they talk. He stands there and he does sign language. I noticed there was a guy in there was a guy down in North Carolina I was watching the news, and the guy kind of looked like Adam Silver, and I was like, yo, Adam Silver does look like that guy. Looks like a fucking hand signal guy or sign language guy, whatever. All right, so we had some turbulence in college football with Mike Gundy wearing a OAN t-shirt. And this seems to be a trend here with these older white sports figureheads just simply like wearing their ignorance and tone deafness literally on their sleeves. For anybody who doesn't know, OAN is like, it's kind of like NPR, but more like, I don't know. It's just one of those news outlets that it's like bad NPR, right? It's like racist NPR. That's what they are. Yeah, I'll say it. Yeah, Ty, we'll tell them. Enough of this garbage. I'm so tired of being nice. I had a 30-minute conversation with Mike Powers, and all he did was yell at me and tell me to be nicer and just watch what I say. Because you know what? Enough of this. Racist NPR, OAN. Mike Gundy's out there. He's a man. He's 40, and he knows that the OAN is a racist news outlet. They've been against Black Lives Matter this whole time, and here he goes trotting it out. And then he gives us the age-old, the racist apology. I didn't know my remarks offended anybody, so I apologize to anybody offended, which translates to, I'm not sorry for shit. I'm just sorry that you guys don't like what I have to say, so I have to apologize because I'm a public figurehead. Mike Gundy should be fired. And I know that I'm calling for a lot of people to lose their jobs on the show today, but that's just how the cards are dealt. When you are a primetime college football coach at a big program, you can't do shit like this when 90% of your team are black kids, right? You are going into their homes basically saying, I really don't care about your child's well-being outside of the football field because I support this outlet that supports the killing of black people. And I had a huge problem with I'm going to look up this player's Chuba Hardgrave, or I'm so sorry I messed up this kid's name. Whatever his receiver, whatever the running back was, they did this like really. You said what?
They call him Chubbs. I forget what the long version of his name is. Okay. I'll get it for you.
Yeah, well, they did this really stuffy, awkward apology video that was forced clearly by the university, and like I'm just so tired of seeing this. I'm tired of these sports figures coming out and telling us who they really are, and then expecting us to accept their bullshit apology when they're forced to do it. I don't know what you guys are thoughts, if you are read up on the situation, what your thoughts are. Go ahead.
So first of all, I don't think your statement that it's a racist NPR, that's not a bad statement at all. I think Powers would applaud you for that. I think that's probably the best way you could have said that. So hats off to you, Germ. I think you're moving in the right direction with this whole be nice thing.
Thank you.
Spreading love. It's tough because it's like, when you work for a major university like Oklahoma, and this has been the discussion in America for at least 2 weeks, if not, it's been the discussion of America for years now, but the spotlight has been directly on it for at least 2 weeks, and hopefully it'll continue to be on it in weeks or even years to come until we get this right. I feel like he had to have known better. You can say tone deaf, you can say ignorance, he can say this is just a shitty shirt I go fishing with, because that's what he was doing. He was going fishing. But when you're going to take a picture like that and you're going to post it, you should know better. And it is predominantly those older coaches. They're always obviously white, and it's just that they, like you said, they claim that I didn't know, I'm sorry, which is complete bullshit. You know, if you support that network, you don't advertise it. You keep that shit to yourself, because not everybody does. And especially during these times when you have majority of the country now, and specifically speaking, that network not on board with the movement of what majority of the country is on, you know, that speaks waves. You know, you're showing support for something that, like you had said, instead of the players on his field. And I do know they issued an apology. You know, he made that awkward video to Chuba Hubbard is the running back's name. You know, Chuba called him out on Twitter and said, "I'm not stepping on the field in Oklahoma until we fix this." And then that was his oh shit moment. Oh my fucking God, what do I do? And he had the apology. And, you know, if Chuba wants to accept it, that's fine. But I just think it's just absolutely ridiculous that he is not being at the very minimal reprimanded. Or, you know, he made that video. I guess that was his way of making a statement. You know, go fucking burn the shirt on live television if you have to. You know, show us you mean it. Don't just have your wife put it in the wash and then fold it up and put it in your drawer for when you don't leave the house. Like, burn that shit and show us that you do have everybody's support.
Yeah. This is a very, very tough topic because, I mean, we don't know where he stands politically. I mean, we're not just politically, but even in terms of morally, I don't know where he stands. A t-shirt is a t-shirt. I mean, I'm sure that's the company he keeps, and that probably says a lot in itself. But people give shirts. I give shirts out every day, right? Like, people just give out shirts. I'm sure maybe he knows somebody or whoever. Like, he could have just gotten a shirt. He just puts them on. I would have rather let it. I don't know. Like, I think I'm all for free speech. You know, I'm all for free speech, but then I'm also for free to get your ass kicked too. So, like, wear your shirt, own it, and let us figure it out later. Like, I will figure out about your character later. Like, every player should have, you know, reached out and just had a conversation with him and really just kind of really get a gauge. Like, yo, we're about to kneel in these streets. You understand what we're about to do out here? We're gonna kneel. We're gonna say fuck this flag, you know, because this country hasn't done shit for us, but fuck us, and we're pissed. So do you understand that, coach? And see what he says. Like, and just kind of see what he says. Like, I would rather have tested him and let him prove his real stance, so that we could have just been like, now I'm not playing for this guy. I'd rather really know his full character, because just wearing a shirt and then just trashing him is like, who really knows? Now he's like all big and mighty, like, oh, I would never, and I believe this, I believe that. But I would have rather let him dig himself a deeper hole, because just wearing a shirt doesn't really mean much. I mean, somebody could have gave him that shirt yesterday for all we know, and he could have never watched the channel a day in his life. But I do believe he did say something about he did watch the network.
Oh, he knows exactly what that channel is. There's a statement that somebody found that he said, "Oh, I fucking love OAN," and
that's what I'm saying. I would rather have, like, instead of like backlash immediately, I would have rather have more conversations. Like, oh, what do you know about it? What do you like about it? Like, let's talk more about it. So, because I want him to really dig a real hole so that we can really revolt. I would love to keep him as a coach and let the players just not fucking show up and go, you know, transfer, and let them just have a fucked up season. That's what I would love to have, than rather him be fired.
Look, the only reason you wear an OAN shirt is if you know what OAN is and you support the ideas behind it. The same reason why you would wear any other news network T-shirt. So, and just by that,
I don't see anybody wear CNN or Fox News shirts.
Well, that's because they're smaller, apparently. But I mean, like, look, the only thing that would make this acceptable is if he said, I just got this shirt yesterday and I shit my pants on my fishing trip and I had to, you know, use my other shirt to wipe or something, and this is the only thing I had left. So, I mean, here's what I like about the situation is the fact that this young, very brave man spoke out against his university that was undoubtedly giving him a scholarship to play football there, and came outright and said, I'm not stepping on a field until this is fixed. But I also like the university's response to get them immediately in a room together and try to mediate and work this out. I don't know if he deserves to be fired, plain and simple, because I don't know what the locker room culture is like. I don't know what he's verbally said, if anything was abusive. Granted, his affiliation with that network is horrible, But the fact that they came together, they talked it out, and then they issued an apology. Granted, it was stuffy. It's a start, and that means something's working there. I would like to see him in more of like a Drew Brees apology, admitting he was wrong, and he's going to rethink the way he's thought about a lot of things and rethink how he's getting his news from just this network as opposed to other sources as well. It'll be interesting to see if there are other things that come out after this, or what they may try to sweep under the rug. But I think they're moving in the right direction, so to speak. So, I mean, look, it was a very, very poor decision. He should pay for it. But I got to be honest with you. Hats off to that player, man. The fact that he called them out on Twitter and then went to have a conversation and said, like, look, that's the movement of change for those kids right now. That whole generation is speaking louder than everyone else. And I got to applaud him 100%.
Yeah, so the reason why that video was done or anything was done, I do agree with you, is Chuba Howard. Was that his name?
Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard. I'm sorry for butchering that. Chuba Hubbard. Oh my God. Yeah, right. If it wasn't for him, I don't think we would have heard about this, to be honest. I don't think there would never have been an apology, and that's why I kind of don't accept it. I don't care about the video. Because if it wasn't for that player, this wouldn't have happened, and the university wouldn't have cared. And I think it's a fireable offense. And to me, this is the old hockey thing. This is not really about the first guy who throws the punch. This punishment isn't for you. This punishment is for anybody else in the future. I believe that wholeheartedly. There was an actor on the Flash TV show who got his old tweets. Somebody dug him up. And he was saying some really misogynistic, racist stuff. And the show fired him immediately. Like, the season's over anyway. And he's actually had a big storyline. And they're just going to recast him. Or they might just drop his character altogether. And a lot of people were saying, wow, he made those tweets so long ago. And it wasn't that long ago. It was like 6-7 years ago, whatever. But, I was trying to explain to people, that punishment isn't for him. That punishment is for anybody else who thinks that type of behavior is okay. Like, Mike Gundy should be fired, not because of Mike Gundy fucked up, even though he did. He should be fired for the future coaches who make poor decisions. What you do, Mike Gundy, even though you may think, and it could be right, it could be a stupid shirt you were sent that you just threw on. But the fact that we already know that you love and support and watch that network means you know exactly how they feel, which means you chose to wear that shirt, right? And so with that, that message needs to be sent across the board for anybody in positions of power that have to lead young black men, especially. That's not okay. And there was a team meeting. He explained himself in the team meeting. I mean, like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, the players should cancel him. Like, the players should not. I would not play for him, and the players should not play for him, and he should be fired just off of just nature, like just off of nature. Well, they should be like, oh shit, we need another coach because these players aren't playing.
And you know what it is? I feel you, but with college, it's not that easy. And this isn't the first time that in college football that they've had a coach. Universities have had a coach that made a poor decision. Urban Meyer covered up a whole domestic incident a few years back, 2 or 3 years ago. I think we covered it. Remember, Ty? And they only suspended him. And he didn't knowingly report it, which is like 100% against the university, and they just suspended him and brought him back. I know this is a much bigger issue, but the players are kind of caught in this, and this is why I don't fully believe that apology, because it wouldn't surprise me if they pulled Chuba in and was like, hey, remember you're on a full scholarship for this, so coach is going to apologize. If you want to keep your scholarship, I want you to accept the apology, and then we're going to make a 30-second clip so you can hug coach awkwardly. You know what I mean? And a lot goes for those players, whereas you better believe, Ty, as soon as they can start looking to transfer, they're going to look to transfer and see who's going to throw money at
these
them.
Kids, I hope these kids are watching. I know this is probably one of the highest rated shows people are watching. I know you're listening, kids. Fuck these guys. You do not need to do anything. Leave.
They need you.
Leave. Yeah, exactly. You are a commodity. You are powerful. You are strong. You can find another school. You can go to XFL, go to Canada, Australia. You can play football all over the world. You can take your talents and make some of it. You can go start a damn gym, start a personal training thing. You can do a lot of things with your life. Don't think that I'm signed to this school. They are holding me to. Shut the fuck. No. no, fuck you, I'm leaving, I'm dropping out, I'm
Right,
going here.
but-
Like you don't
but
got,
if
nobody
they-
forces you to
if
do
they
anything.
But if they can't afford school elsewhere, and that's the only place that's throwing them a scholarship for right now, until another school offers it to them, until they put in transfer papers, they're stuck.
Start calling. No, if you're good, start calling.
I'm
Just
all
start
for
calling
it.
schools. They'll answer. You start calling. Just start calling. First of all, they're already doing waivers. So there's already. I'm sure there's a couple. There's a couple kids that aren't signing these waivers that are already dropping off the teams. You can find somewhere to play, man. Like it's tough right now, but it's much better to stand for this than to fall for this. Stand for this and no fall for this, man, because it's much better for you in the long run and much better for your community and other college players in the long run than to, just do whatever you think you have to do because I don't know, man. That's just my personal opinion. Like you have more power than you think you have.
That's tough.
Yeah, Mike Gundy, first game at OSU. You need to be out there on the full Nancy Pelosi. I want the Kente OSU uniforms. You better be out there kneeling. You better be out there in full African garb. I need everything. I need you.
I need a salary. I need a salary donated. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I'm in people's pockets hurt until your pockets start hurting. Until you add to this country actually repents, niggas are gonna be mad. So until you guys start repenting the real way, we are pissed. So that coach better give up his salary or nothing. Fuck you.
All right, calm down, Django.
No.
Speaking, and it's funny you actually mentioned the players. You have the power, and you should use that power. Go play football somewhere else. That brings us to our last topic of the evening: Kyrie Irving and the NBA. Kyrie Irving had an impassioned call and statement urging players to simply just not play their NBA season, the rest of the season at all, saying that return to NBA play would be a major distraction. He actually went as far and took that even farther to say that if the NBA and the owners don't support us, we should go and start our own league and not, screw the NBA. And we should be, and I don't know if he meant a black only league. I don't think that's what he meant. I'm guessing that was the catalyst, but who knows? Kyrie Irving thinks the world is flat, so I'm not going to pretend to know what his line of thinking is here. But I had a lot of trouble with this one because on one hand, I do understand the notion that people are so desperate for sports. He's right. I do believe these protests is the one good thing coronavirus gave us, because if coronavirus didn't shut everything down, these protests would be non-existent. People would be, distracted by other things. They'd be doing other things. And because there's really nothing to do and there's nothing on, people are paying attention and are able to go out and protest and help the cause. So on that hand, I think he's right. If they just started playing NBA games again, people would leave the protest to go watch the NBA. On the other hand, for me, I actually think it's weird because I was trying to figure out which way I'm going to argue this, because I can argue both ways. So I just decided to argue both ways. On the other hand, the NBA is in a unique position, much like my stance on canceling shows like Cops and Live PD. You have a unique opportunity to even expand the cause even more than it is. Nobody said you could just go there and play basketball. You guys can all kneel. There's a rule in the NBA, unlike the NFL does. The NFL does not have a kneeling rule. You can kneel for the flag if you want to. The NBA has a strict rule. You have to stand for the national anthem. It was implemented when Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf turned his back. He turned Muslim, and instead of facing the flag, he turned his back to it. And he was ousted from NBA to never be seen again. And
sad. How sad is that?
It is sad. And then he had a resurgent, glorious career in the Big Three. Shout out to Ice Cube. So on that hand, I say, wow, man, Kyrie's kind of right, but he's wrong too, because the NBA, more so than the NFL, is they're like the face of sports, because you know who the athletes are. In football, you don't really know who the star players are unless they're like the real star players. And the NBA, because there's only 10 of them on the court at a time, it's a bigger personality. You need more personality to thrive in the NBA. They're just in the spotlight nationally more. And you can use that to help and talk about a lot of these issues. So I'm going to let you guys go and just give your thoughts on, should the NBA cancel the season? One is my first question to you guys. And whose side are you on? Because there's Jazz player Ed Davis basically told Kyrie to shut the fuck up because it's easy for him when he's making $40 million a year and he's making a couple $100,000.
He has the Kyries, he has movies,
Yeah, Kyrie's Uncle Drew, you know what I mean? And Ed Davis is like 8th guy off the bench, and he needs this job.
Kyrie's shoes sell like crazy too. Like one of the highest selling shoes.
Yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts on that interesting dynamic?
So this is tough, and from the looking glass, it's kind of like, how do I put this? It's easy for me to say, okay, this is what it seems like. Kyrie, who's a member of the union, is basically saying that, yes, I don't want to go back with all this systematic racism going on. It's going to take away from the protests. From an NBA ownership or even from the league's point of view, I don't want to say the answer is easy. You have a rep that you don't want to take away from that. My compromise would be, okay, we're listening. What do you want to do to make sure that you can continue to remind about the protest, you can continue to be heard, but play basketball at the same time? It would be carte blanche. It would be, what do you want? Within reason, as long as it's nothing crazy inappropriate, but what do you want? Do you want to kneel during the national anthem? Do you want to wear the same warm-ups with different names? Like, what do you want? And then go from there. You know what I mean?
Corey, thank you. Thank you for saying that. That is the right answer question. What do you want? That should be the next question, because it's not goddamn kneeling and it's not goddamn wearing shirts. We did that shit a million times and we're still getting fucking murdered. So there's actual things we're fighting for. So Kyrie needs to make that known. And like you said, he needs to approach the NBA with that and say, this is why I'm not playing. And this is something that I'm trying to push every single time I open my mouth, is that people need to understand that our history of America is different. So when we look at the flag, of course, my man turned Muslim and turned it back to the flag because he woke up. It was like, this flag don't mean shit to me. This country doesn't give a fuck about me. Kyrie has a problem. Like all black men in this country right now, we're just pissed off. Playing basketball is what? So what? Right? Is so what? Like there's bigger things right now we're fighting for. You still want to play the game though, so you should use that platform in the right way. So I would hope that the commissioner does take that approach, and other people, just like I hope the NFL and baseball is kind of doing the same thing. All right, you want us to play? This is what we're asking for. Obviously, it's different in NBA because it's mostly black owned. But what I harp back to was repentance. That's what I feel like what the black community really wants the most is repentance. For one, acknowledge what's happening. Just for everybody, not just most of the people, everybody finally acknowledge it. Like, you know what? You're right. We're fucked up. Like America done fucked up. Like we should really just acknowledge that and repent. And how I feel like it needs to be repent in communities is financial and funding. So some kind of form of reparations for black communities, not individual handouts. So if something like that were to happen, you already had today Trump signing some kind of big police reform. I don't know much about it. I got to do my research on it. But we want to see real changes. We don't want to just some policies and, oh, you're allowed to kneel now. You can wear a shirt and you can make a stance. That's so little. We've done that so many times. Until real actual change is happening, we're going to be pissed. So
can I ask, the NBA did release a statement, right? And I'm not saying that's all they should do, but I know the NFL did. But did the NBA, did they release an actual statement?
They need to be champions of real policy in the government. You guys have all this power and all this money, and you are literally making all this off the backs of black players. You need to be speaking for black people much bigger in terms of policies in national government and national levels. You should be having a much bigger voice about the community that you serve the most, the people that give you damn near most of the money you have. You should be speaking way more about real shit in the White House and in government than what you do already, NBA and NFL.
NBA did. I'm sorry, Bert, real quick before you go, to answer Corey real quick. Yes, the NBA released a series of videos on Instagram. They do have a message on Instagram. They did release a statement. And quickly with Ty, acknowledgement is, I think, Kyrie Irving's point. You know, you don't have to agree with how things are done, or, you know, you don't have to like completely be on board with what we're saying. even if you are somebody who doesn't subscribe to Black Lives Matter, at the very least, you have to acknowledge that there's a problem. And I think that's generally what Kyrie Irving is saying. When you bring in the NBA to distract people from that, that gives them an excuse not to acknowledge what's happening. Sorry, Bert, I didn't mean to cut you off like that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, there have been so many good points shared here, and you want to see the NBA say, what can we do? Tell us what to do. Let us know how we can reach out to these communities, or what do the players want to see? The problem is you have these owners, and I'm thinking of one in New York City, who send internal memos to their employees saying, hey, we understand this is going on and we don't agree with it, but we don't feel we should speak on it. So what there needs to be is unity, plain and simple. The league should listen. The owners should listen. If one of your biggest stars is speaking out, letting you know how we feel and that you don't want to be a distraction and you still want to play basketball, or if the league still wants to happen, kind of going back to core, let us know what we need to do to make sure your voice is heard, you're happy, but also that we can play as well. So it's a balancing act, right? Because, you do have these owners that, look, James Dolan frankly put out a memo saying he doesn't give a shit. He can use whatever fancy word he wants. Fuck him, by the way. But he put out a memo saying, like, look, we disagree, but we're not going to speak on it. That doesn't do shit. You need people speaking the same voice. And especially when, not only are you a major franchise owner in one of the most diverse cities in the States and in the world, not to mention your entire employee population is of diverse makeup. Why wouldn't you want to put out in solidarity with your employees, and, the people that are, playing the games that your fans want to see? So, look, like I said, there needs to be unity. There needs to be something happening. But I getting back to like the sports issue, I understand where Kyrie wants to go because he has the money to absolutely do that. But as Germ said at the beginning, when you have these bench guys that are making a couple $100,000 and they can't afford to just break off and form another NBA or do something else later, that's where the issue is. But I think a good first step would be, the league reaching out and figuring out what can we do. This is a good time for change, to change certain rules, like allow them to kneel. I know it's small in comparison to some of the things that Ty mentioned, but something needs to happen out of this, plain and simple.
Yo, there is another black league, the Big Three. And this is what I tweeted. I tweeted Ice Cube, and he didn't respond. And I thought he would respond. Like, Ice Cube, bro, change the Big Three to the Big Five, please. The Big Five, and we just have a black NBA. We're done. That's the solution. And you give players part ownership. Go ahead, Jerome.
Hey, bring back the Rucker League, man. I'm all with it, man. There's a bunch
that's
of
what I was saying in the
pro-am.
group chat. I'm like, for the most, honestly, even if basketball was canceled, niggas ain't gonna stop playing basketball. Like,
Well,
we're gonna be watching basketball somewhere. Somebody's gonna be playing it somewhere at some kind of level.
Well,
we're gonna watch it. Like, these players are gonna find a way to play.
I had this conversation earlier. Obviously, it's tied to millions, right? So, like, I know with the NFL, I don't know, we didn't talk about the Cowboys and Texans, like a bunch of people testing positive, Ezekiel Elliott, namely, for COVID.
I'm sorry.
Like, if the NFL, that is funny because it's the Cowboys. If the NFL doesn't play without fans, go ahead, Corey. Go ahead. I want to hear it.
I'm just saying, man, Zeke is the poster child of COVID, dude. Zeke looked like he got COVID before COVID was COVID, like,
Oh my God, 100%. Yo, Ezekiel Elliott definitely looks like he's the kid. He got held back twice in third grade. Like, he just, I don't know, something about him, man. Looks like it just looks like he went to that other school, and we all know what that other school is. There was a call with the high-level NBA players yesterday, I believe. Surprise, surprise, Kyrie Irving wasn't on that call. And it was like Steph Curry, Giannis, LeBron, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, basically saying, yo, bro, we trying to play. Like, we don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? There are players like Dwight Howard, who I'm not surprised Dwight Howard is liking whatever Kyrie's got going on. Dwight Howard looks like he pays attention very closely to what other men are doing. When today they released a statement saying basically what I said, and it's funny. I'm glad I looked this up while we were doing it. They released a statement saying our central goal of our season restart will be to utilize NBA's platform to bring attention and sustained action to the issues of social injustice, including combating systematic racism, expanding educational and economic opportunities across the Black community, enacting meaningful police and criminal justice reform, and promoting greater civic engagement. We are in discussions with the Players Association to develop a comprehensive strategy on how the NBA, its teams, and players can best address these important issues and uniquely position our league to drive action and create meaningful and generational change. So it sounds like the NBA and it's at least most of its stars are in agreement that they're going to not only start the season on time or restart the season on time, but also use that platform to make sure it doesn't become a distraction. So Kyrie Irving, heady play, trying to put pressure in LeBron James's head. I actually think Kyrie Irving does want to play. I just think he's trying to sabotage LeBron James. He got Patrick Beverley to say, if LeBron plays, we're all playing. Patrick Beverley, we all know that you hate LeBron James. So I just think this is just some chess, some strategy.
Well, not just that, but like, very similar to, I don't want to get anybody upset, but like in terms of the riots, people that are out here rioting and going wild, I wouldn't do that, but I'm not too mad at them because we need soldiers on every level. Maybe Kyrie had to be the angry man, the angry black man in the room to say that, to put a little bit of pressure so that they said, okay, we really can't return unless we do some real shit because, this isn't just some regular thing. So maybe it was very necessary for him to say that. And Kyrie obviously wasn't playing anyway. He's hurt. So it was silly for him to say in the first place, like, that's not play. Like, dog, you really can't play anyway. But maybe it was worth it for him to speak out, though. Maybe that voice and that anger was enough to maybe put a little bit more pressure for players to second guess it. Like, you know what? Yeah, we should speak up more before just picking the basketball up and going about our business like, shit's sweet.
Yeah, I completely, I'll ride that a little bit, Ty. I completely agree with you. And just for putting that bug out there and just making sure that when they return the play that the NBA is not going to just kind of throw this to the side or we're not going to forget about it. I mean, just take a look at us. We've been doing a sports podcast for the last 6 or 7 weeks now with no actual sports, absolutely fiending for it. So if we can actually get sports and still continue to bring the message and to bring change, I mean, dude, there's no better way of unity than that. Sports bring people together. And then on top of that, you have the kids that watch this, we're bringing change in the right direction. And I know it's not much or as much as we need right now, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
100%. It'll be interesting to see. I completely forgot that Kyrie Irving wasn't playing. Now, like, I'm kind of mad that we wasted 20 minutes on bum ass Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, just shut up. How about you get this vigorous about discovering that the earth is round? Tree hugger. You guys are a tree hugger out here, sitting here worried about what the NBA and the players are doing. Guys, this was fantastic. Thank you. I love you guys. Everybody who's listening, thank you for showing us love. Everybody who's been sharing and follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We're trying to build that thing at Stuff About Sports. Invite your friends, invite your mammies, invite your grandmammies. We need some help growing this thing so we could do some cool stuff. Do not forget this Friday and every Friday, happy hour 5 to 6 on the Give Us a Shot Facebook page. The Zoom link will be there. Bring something to drink. This week, guys, I did not think of something fun that we can rank. Do you have any ideas here before we get off the air?
Oh,
we should. You did just make that post about the baseball. Like, maybe we should rank baseball players or like some kind of form, because I don't think I've never done that publicly. And you made a list today that was kind of wild.
All right, yeah. Hey, what does Ty think about our list? Find out next on Friday during the happy hour. Until then, for Corey, for Ty, for Bert, I am Jamal. Everybody, thank you for watching.